Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to my second live video. If you came last week, I want to thank you for being a part. I think I just went on. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. I want to, if you came to my video last week, I want to thank you for being a part of that. This is my second video. Hopefully, I will get better as I do these more often. I am still learning, so if there was some mistakes last week, so I'm sorry for the pauses and the intro part because I didn't know if I was live. So how's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. This is your mindfulness moment with me, Dr. Burgos, Yvonne Burgos. If you don't know, I'm a psychologist and I've been working in the field for over 10 years now. And I wanted to do these videos just to kind of give you some glimpse and hints of mental health, mindfulness, and techniques you could do at home. Make it simple. I don't want to go too long doing these videos. But first of all, before I start, I want to tell everyone I am in a very good mood. This past year, this pandemic, at the beginning of when this pandemic first hit last year, it started with an idea. I got this idea in my head, and then the idea just grew and grew and grew until I actually thought maybe I should do this, and I got an idea of writing a children's book, which is something I never in my mind imagined doing. Never thought that is something I could do. I never thought I was creative enough. I don't work with younger child, although I do have a lot of training working with the younger population. That is not my focus. So when I first started this, I thought, what am I doing? I don't know anything about writing a children's book, which I really didn't. And there was times where I our thought process really gets in the way sometimes, and our worries and our what if and our doubts, or I'm not good enough, these negative thoughts that we may have. And there was a point where I actually gave up my idea and I stopped for like 6 months. I didn't write. I had written my first draft, and I got the person who critiqued my work was very positive about it, encouraging, but she was like, there's some changes you have to make. And that alone to me was like, yeah, I can't do this. But I did pick up well, I didn't pick up the pen. I picked up the keyboard and started typing again and making some of the suggested changes. And I got back on the drawing board and I submitted it again and it passed the second time. So I am excited to share with the world that coming this year, hopefully in the next few months, I should be self-publishing my first children books. And the characters are if you guys know me personally, you will know. Thank you, Crystal. She's congratulating me on this children's book. You will know that my dogs are a big part of my world, and they are the main characters. My first book this is a series of books. I hope I'm actually working on my second book as we speak, and I'm using my dogs as the characters to really to tell a story. And the story, hopefully, is to help kids with some problems, regular things that kids would go through. But I'm using my dog story and kind of putting a human emotion to it and human worries to it. So the first story is on my dog Lily, who was adopted about 4 years ago. We adopted her, and actually, the events of the story, the actual events that take place, were true. They really did take place. Like I really retold her adoption story. I just put it in the sense of, what would a kid feel like if they were being adopted, especially if they were a little bit older, especially if they have trauma. What would they might be going through? Some of the behavioral problems. So I kind of, paired up her act. We had problems with her at the beginning where she was really anxious, and she kind of still is an anxious dog, and I just kind of paired those up. So please stay tuned to that and keep. I will be as I get more information when that book is coming up. I will keep you guys updated and just kind of look out for that. And it's called The Adventures of Lily and Londa. Lily gets adopted. I think that's the title, or Lily is adopted. I remember there were some changes, but is basically her adoption story. And it's really to anyone who's adopting or work with kids that may go in the foster care, because there's a part where she was in foster. She was actually foster in dog foster world. Um, if you guys know anybody, then that would be a good book for them. So I wanted to kind of go back to what we've been talking about. Last week we talked about mindfulness, and I just want to do a quick review of what is mindfulness. Mindfulness is basically bringing your attention and awareness to the here and now. Be present, being fully present on what you're doing. Like right now, I am doing this talk, and I might have all this worry thoughts like, okay, are people watching? What are they thinking? There might be all this stuff going on in the background, right? And it's just kind of bringing my attention to how am I feeling? What am I doing? Your internal world and your external world is what I say. What's going on around you? I could bring my attention maybe to just like staring at the camera and being present with that instead, and kind of putting all those worried thoughts, not that you want to push them away, but just kind of putting them to the side and saying, I'm going to be present right here with the here and now. Some of the benefits of mindfulness is really to reduce stress, anxiety, depression, and is to calm the mind. There, belly breathing really helps the nervous system. And I know a lot of people are like probably, especially kids. I think it's like the big thing, and a lot of kids, adolescents I work with, get really annoyed. Like, yeah, yeah, breathing. Here we go again. They get really annoyed with it, but it really does calm the nervous system, especially when you have an overactivated nervous system. Kids who suffer from ADHD, it really brings their attention and focus, because a lot of times that's what something they really struggle with. So then practicing mindfulness would really help them kind of bring their attention and awareness when their mind is going off somewhere else, kind of slowing them down a little bit. I want to review the belly breaths, what we talked about last week when we did the belly breaths. I want to remind everyone, the belly breaths are taking really big diaphragmic, sorry, can't say that word, diaphragmic breathing. So it's really the reason they're called belly breath, because it's really in the belly. You want to breathe in through your nose, and you'll notice that that belly will be floating up. And if the way I explain it to kids is like, pretend there's a balloon in your belly and you're just filling up that balloon. And as you blow out, you're letting the air out of the balloon. And you breathe out through your mouth. And if you do that a couple times, you would notice, even right now when I did it, I'm a little bit anxious. See, there I go again. I'm a little bit anxious doing the video, but just doing the breathing, I noticed my body just really relaxing. It was really relaxing, calming for my body. So you want to make sure you do those bit. And so if you notice your chest kind of go up with the kids, that's not really belly breathing. You want to make sure that the belly breathe is really in the belly, and that you will know that because your belly will rise and your belly will go down. You will see that up and down going on in your belly. So last week I talked about using bubbles, and I brought my bubbles. These are actually pretty old. I brought them out the other day. I used to use them pre-pandemic. I used to use them in my group practice where I work out with little kids. And since I haven't really been at the office for a year now, I haven't brought these out in a while now. But these are I actually the other day I was like, I wonder if they still work, and I took them out and I was blowing them, and I didn't even notice. I was just kind of into my blowing my bubbles, practicing, and then my husband looks at me and I look up and I see that he's just staring at me, looking at me like, what is she doing? She's just sitting there blowing bubbles. But he's like, you were just really looking like you were enjoying yourself. And I was like, oh well, I was practicing. So it could be even relaxing for us adults to blow up bubbles. So before we go to the blowing bubbles, I just want to talk about how might you engage your kids, like ways to engage your kids. The younger they are, they're probably, you want to engage it in a way where you could do a game. So it's different games. Like let's say you're at the park. The park is a perfect place. You can ask them like, hey, let's notice all the different um, textures, the different touches we could touch. So you could pick up the sand. Okay, I don't think they have sand anymore, but you could pick up like a rock. Like, okay, this is smooth. Let's touch the slide. Oh, look, this is a little bit more, or the maybe the swings, the metal part. This is a little bit cold, and just kind of see how many different textures they can touch, or what did they see? Like, how many different you can do, how many different shapes you can see, or even the clouds. The other day, I was actually at the camp working with my adolescent, and I had a kid there that was he was kind of like in a bad mood, annoyed a little bit. He wasn't in. I always say my feeling thermometer that I pull out for, well, I usually have it right here. I don't know where I did with it. But my feeling thermometer that I have for my kids is from 1 to 10. I always ask him, where are you at? He was maybe like at a 5. He wasn't at a 10. So he wasn't in crisis mode, but he was a little bit annoyed. And I said, well, let's look at the clouds. And we looked at the clouds and we were just kind of making up shapes. Like, what do you see? What does that remind you of? And that was a mindfulness moment because he was able to kind of take himself away from being annoyed, worrying about going home, being annoyed with what's going on in the camp, and just really focus on the clouds in that moment. So those are different ways. Blowing up balloons is another way. Pretending that a birthday. I like the birthday cake because you really have to take a deep breath and then you blow out the candles, but you make a wish. So what I tell them is like, let's make a wish. What do you want for today? That is, and you make like a wish like that you wanna. Well, I would say just make a wish. I don't think it really matters, but that's a really mindfulness way to do as well. What else can you do? Mindfulness eating. I think I talked about that last week as well. Maybe at some point I'll do some mindfulness eating here as well. I'm blanking on bubbles. Another thing I do, especially for my kids that are really really impatient, we take turns blowing bubbles. Like so, I'll say I'll blow it 3 times, and then I pass it to you, and then they have siblings. I'll have them so they learn how to wait their turn, and they might get impatient. I was like, okay, let's wait. You want to bring that attention to them. Like I'm seeing you getting impatient, but we're gonna wait. So you take turns, and that helps them really with being patient. So like I said, how did the bubbles? So the game that I played with my kiddos is more than just blowing the bubbles, but I said, let's see who can blow the biggest bubble. And the trick to blowing the biggest bubble is that you want to take a deep breath in through your nose, like you do your belly breathing. It really does the belly breathing. So you take a big breath in through your nose, and then you hold it for a second, and you want to blow as slow, let's see if I could do it, as slow as possible as you blow out. And that will really engage the belly breathing. So right now, I was blowing too fast. As you see, a bunch of small bubbles came out. Let's try again. I think it's because my adrenaline's going a little bit. So I have to calm myself a little bit more. And if your kid doesn't get it right away, it's okay. Just be like, just keep encouraging. Like, let's keep trying, blow the big bubbles. Okay, that one was kind of big. As you saw, it was getting big, and at the end, it just kind of. Whoa, there you go. So you see, that was really big. So a lot of kids really get into it. They're like, I want to blow big bubbles, and I tell them, you just have to blow slow. You have to be calm. So it really helps them be calm, and it's very relaxing. Just blowing that big bubble. I don't know if you guys are trying it with me at home, but if you are, just notice how relaxing that is. Sometimes I'm in my office and I just start blowing bubbles by myself. And if they're not even able to blow big bubbles, a lot of kids just like popping the bubbles. They just enjoy that. So I hope that I have these sorry, I had to get one more in there. I was having too much fun. I hope that these videos are helpful for you guys. Please go ahead, and I saw that a lot of people kind of looked at my video afterwards, and I really I appreciate those that left comments. Please leave some comments, some recommendations, maybe some things you want to see in the future that some questions you might have. Maybe I can do a video on that. I did read some of the comments. I really appreciate those of you. I noticed that a few people did share my video. You're welcome to share this video. Somebody may find this helpful for them. I really hope that's the point in making these videos, is to just really provide some information out there to that could be helpful for the audience. So please let me know how you feel about these videos, what topics you might want to see more talk about, and I will be happy to do that. And I hope to see you guys next week. Thank you for joining me today. And as always, please feel free to share this video. Bye.